Did it feel like everything was falling into place? You were in surrender mode and everything was pointing towards union, only for one massive trigger to come in and throw all your healing into chaos. Well, this is our final purge, the final purge before union. We have to go backwards in order to go forwards. So don't worry, this is supposed to happen. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the scariest part, I think, because when you're in union energy, and you'll know when you're in union energy, you're in complete surrender mode. All your doubts are gone. All of them are gone. And you just have this safety, this inner knowing that it's going to work out. Nothing is getting in the way anymore. None of those fears are creeping back in. You feel worthy now. You're on your purpose path. You're feeling good in yourself. All the insecurities are gone. You know that union is destined. It's inevitable. And there's this frequency of complete and utter trust and faith. And that's it. And it's a beautiful feeling to be in. It's literally, and it's funny because for me, I could feel it. I just felt it. It's like, oh, this is happening. And I just know that it's inevitable. And I was getting all the signs, the numbers are coming up again. His name was coming up again. And the word union is slapping me in the face, left, right, and center. And I was like, this is good. This is good energy. And I love feeling that calm, no more feeling insecure. Because we all know one of our biggest wounds is that unworthiness wound. And one of the biggest things that we have to work on before we get into surrender mode is the feeling of being deserving of this love, being worthy of this love. And that's both parties, both you and your twin flame are going through this. So to be able to overcome all that insecurity and to come into complete calm and surrender, that's a really big achievement. And it's a really, really good energy. But then the shit hits the fan all over again. And for me personally, it was like we got a taste of what union would look like. And then the trigger came in, the massive trigger. And I spent the last fucking week, I'm brand now, but I spent over a week after, literally in turmoil again. All the insecurities came back up, feeling like we were mismatched, feeling like it doesn't look right. How is this going to work? All the human aspects come in, and I was just like, oh, why am I doing this? And it really knocked me back. I kind of worried then, was I just going through the bipolar effect again, that roller coaster ride? I was like, was this union energy even real? Was I imagining it in a sense? Do you know what I mean? Or was it just that I was on a high and I was in denial of my healing, or was I avoiding more healing? And that's really, I suppose, that was the scariest part for me. It was like, I really thought I'd come so far. But what I noticed about this trigger, it came in not because, it came into, I think this is mirrored energy with me and my twin. What we realized after getting a taste of union, in a sense, was that we were ready. I know that sounds weird, but I think the realization that we're ready frightened the shit out of us. You know what I mean? And the universe was literally showing us that we're ready for this, and this could work, and this will work. But that really triggered, I suppose, everything. And everything resurfaced from the past. All of it, all the insecurities, all that unworthiness, all that pain, all this, how's this going to work? You know what I mean? People aren't going to, all the energy of people are going to judge us. It doesn't look conventional, all this kind of shit. And, it really knocks you back down, because I spent the week kind of going, where is this energy coming from? I didn't feel this. A week ago, I felt good. Everything that's coming up right now is the opposite of how I was feeling. So how could that be? Because, when I do my inner work, and when any of us do our inner work, I love to get to the places where, you might go through a repeated cycle. But the next time you go through it, you're like, this is fine. I did this already. You know what I mean? I know I have to heal another layer. But, it's just my ego. My soul has healed this. And, the way I feel it is, it's like it's not your energy. And it could be your twin flames. But, the way I feel it is I've healed this wound. I know I'm not unworthy anymore. But why am I feeling unworthy? And it's just a reminder of how far you've come. And I think that big purge prior to union energy, or in the middle of union energy, is a little bit of, it sounds weird, okay? It's like a wake-up call in a good way. It's a wake-up call to the fact that you are ready. And I think that the reason that scares us is because the way I felt anyway, is that we've done so much hard work. We've climbed many mountains. It's not just one fucking mountain. We've climbed many mountains. We've climbed them over again. It's like it's not even it's the one mountain over and over again that we're climbing. You know what I mean? And it's just so fucking hard. And it gets to the stage where, you know, when you're coming into union energy and you're like, shit, I've been striving for this for so long. I've been, you know, falling over, my hands are bleeding, you know, my knees are cut. Like, it's been a painful journey. Like, you're not just healing the trauma from this life, but from past lives as well. But a lot of it is connected to that inner child and that unworthiness wound. And when you get to a stage where, you know, obviously healing is going to continue when you're in connection and there is a lot to heal. But when you get to the stage where you're actually healed enough for union, that's scary. And I know that means you still have a little bit to heal because you shouldn't be scared. But it kind of just makes you it's like you're like a deer in the headlights. It's like, shit, I'm ready. And it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm fucking ready. Because it's an alien territory. It really is. Because, I think we spend so much time healing, so much time fighting for it. And like, this is the same with any kind of so like we're conditioned as humans. Like, so if we've been going through struggles a lot, happiness is an alien kind of energy. So when we get happy, it's like, oh my God, that's so scary. Do you know? And you kind of run a little bit and then you kind of go back to your old fucking trauma because it's like so familiar. And like, obviously when you're healing that and you're on the healing journey and healing, you get to a stage where you're like, is the healing ever going to end? It's just continuous. But you resign yourself to that fact and you surrender to that. And you know that it's all for something. It's all for divine union, but it's all for inner union as well. But it's like you get so used to climbing the mountain that when you're told you don't have to climb the mountain anymore, you're like, but I love the mountain, even though the mountain was hard. You know what I mean? So I think that's the energy of that the final purge. Is like, literally, you're like, I have to say goodbye to the mountain, and I've known the mountain for so long. You know what I mean? And it's like you want to let go of the mountain, but at the same time, you're like, how do I let go of the mountain? I've only known this mountain for, like, it feels like lifetimes in the one lifetime that we've been climbing this fucking mountain. And you're literally in this unfamiliar territory of coming into union energy and you're like, I'm fucking ready. And you're like, oh my God, like, you know, I don't have to fight anymore. And, you know, it's such a relief in a sense. It's like taking off that heavy backpack. That backpack full of pain and trauma and always fighting, always trying to get to the top. And, you know, obviously, I will continue to say that there is going to be more healing in union. But when you get to a stage where, you know, I think because we're doing the healing for so long, we are in belief and we know union is going to happen, especially when you go into the surrender mode and into union energy. You know it's inevitable. It's just inevitable. But prior to surrender, there was always that doubt. Why am I doing this? You know, is it ever going to happen? Are they doing the work? You know, am I doing the fucking work? You know what I mean? Am I doing enough work? You know, all this kind of stuff comes in. And I suppose when you, there's a part of you, there's that ego part, that human side of you, kind of always questions, am I fucking crazy? Is this ever going to fucking happen? Is this even fucking real? You know what I mean? Or do I need help? But like, so when you get to the stage where it starts happening, you're like, oh shit, this is real. You know, I've mentioned this before about manifestation. You know, the law of attraction and manifestation. If you believe in something, you can attract reality. So when the magic starts coming in, especially when you're awakening and all these enlightening things start happening, every single time, no matter how much you believe in the magic, every time you're like, wow, mind blown. Do you know what I mean? So like, it still shocks you, even though, like, you know, for example, another thing, I always know when my twin is going to text me. I always get that energy, that feeling. And then he texts and I'm still going, shit, I was right. You know, that kind of way. So like when you get to the union energy, and you know, you're told by yourself and the universe, you're ready, you're like, are you sure? Are you sure? And you're literally kind of going, I am ready. but are you sure? Like, and so it's like that it's like that step to the next level. You know, it's like, you know, your part of you wants to cling to the comfort of the past. And, you know, you question, like, all of the stuff comes in. Oh, my God. Like, the last week, like, I'm grand now the last few days. But for about a week there, I was literally kind of, everything came up. Everything. How is this going to work? Like, you know, how we're going to fit each other into each other. All this kind of stuff. Like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? I said, like, you have to, like, you know, when you get into a relationship, you do have to rearrange your life. You don't lose it. You don't want to lose yourself. But at the same time, you do have to make room. You have to compromise. So, like, you know, when you're in a routine or something and everything is just like, oh, my routine is going to be fucked up. Or it's like, you know, I'm so comfortable in my routine. But, like, at the same time, all you ever wanted was your divine counterpart. And then it starts happening and you're like, things are going to change. And change is scary, but change is exciting as well. But when you've been alone for a long time and when you're on the healing journey, we go into hyper independence as well. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, we're doing the work not to repeat past cycles. And then you realize that you're in the twin flame journey and you strive for divine love rather than mediocre love. And, you know, like, the way it is, like, you're constantly going after it, but at the same time, you never so you're in the energy of healing and you're doing the work to get to the union energy, but you're in the spiritual energy of it. And then when you get a taste of union, you're like, oh my God, my life is going to change. Oh my God, this is going to happen. And as I said, you've been single for so long, you're in hyper independence and you're like, how am I going to do this? This is fucking, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? How am I going to do this? Is this even going to work? And that's the kind of energy that comes in. It's just like literally you're kind of, it's like that push and pull energy between your past and your future self. You know what I mean? There's a part of you wants to cling on to the familiar. It's like, it's so much easier, especially when we've been through relationship trauma and a relationship abuse. There is that part of you that says, you know, it's not easier to stay on my own. It's not easier to stay on my own. That little voice comes back in. And that's like literally, and like, you know, the final purge is literally, and I've said this before, you know, we heal in layers and every layer gets easier but harder. What I mean is, so when we heal the first layer, it's a small bit because we're weak, we're vulnerable, we're only building our strength. So we heal the first layer, then the next layer we're stronger, but the next layer is bigger. So each layer does get bigger, but each layer we're stronger. So it doesn't seem like we're doing a bigger task. It just seems normal. So the final layer then is the biggest whammy. And what I find with the final layer of any healing is that it's humongous. It's fucking humongous, right? It's like, it's all of the stuff, all of it all over again. So like the final purge is going to be the biggest purge. But you're strong enough for it. And, you know, like the whole week I was literally, the stuff was coming in. I was like, but that's not real. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that anymore. So it's literally like just batting it away. It keeps going. So like you're strong enough. And that's the beauty of it. Like when we're going through healing, there's ego versus soul. And the ego is always winning, always fucking winning until we get strong enough for soul wins. So your final purge is going to be easier because your soul has the strength now. But it does knock you back in the sense, because I was like, I was in fucking surrender. I was so fucking happy. Where the fuck is the union energy gone? And you kind of do wonder, it's like, was this just another roller coaster ride? Or, you know, the bipolar effect, whatever. But then you come into this energy, you come back into union energy. So it did take me about at least a week. It was a bit more than a week to actually go from the final purge back into union energy. And I'm feeling that lightness again. I'm feeling that surrender mode again. So know that this final purge is temporary. And know that nothing, and then that's one thing the download I got last week as well, was there's nothing going to stop this now. So, you know, prior to union energy, all the fears delayed us. All that, you know, everything, something held us back from communicating. We need another layer to heal, you know, and the universe keeps you apart anyway. But with the final purge, you kind of go through the energy of, oh my God, this is going to delay things, but it can't. The way I see it now is that, like, literally the universe is going to push you. Even if you're going through the final purge energy and you're like, oh my God, is this ever going to work? What if this? What if that? Maybe I won't talk to them. Oh, Jesus. Do you know what I mean? And the universe is like, you're already ready and you know you're ready. So boop, there you go. You know what I mean? So that's when, I suppose that's when you know that you're going to come back into the surrender mode. It's like you have this energy, this knowing. I know I'm going through a moment right now. I know I'm going through more triggers and I know I'm going through this purge, but nothing can delay things anymore and nothing can stop this. Our own fears, our own insecurities, our own lack of listening to our intuition, that can't stop us either. The universe is going to force this. And, I don't like saying force. It's going to encourage. You know what I mean? It's literally going to push us together, and that's a fact. So, trust that it's the final purge, trust that it's temporary, and it will. I love this as well, is that when you're in union energy, you're still going through healing and stuff, but like every round of healing gets shorter, and it gets easier because you are stronger. So trust in this and trust that you'll come back out of this final purge and back into union and surrender mode, union energy and surrender mode. So trust this process. You're stronger than you've overcome all this. And I think the scariest part of the final purge is realizing that you are fucking ready and you don't know how to be ready, but you are. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you think you're ready. The universe is telling you you're ready. You know in your heart you're ready. And yet you're still standing on the edge of the cliff kind of going, I'm afraid to jump. You know what I mean? And the universe is going to go, boop, you're ready. So you are not afraid to jump, right? You are ready to jump. So this is the thing. So trust in this process, trust that the final purge is there for a reason, and trust that if you were in union energy already, you will continue to be in union energy after this final release. You are ready, and I know that's scary, and everything will work out. All that trepidation, all that fear, all that worry, it's non-existent, because what is meant for you is going to work. It's going to find you, and it's always going to work. You know what I mean? Even if you might don't know how it's going to work, it's still going to work. So trust the process, trust in the energy, and trust that when you're in that knowing and surrender, you're right on the verge of divine union. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help on your path. Also, I'm hosting a feminine empowerment workshop on the 15th of October at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. This will be for just women to connect, heal, and share together. If you want information about that, please comment below. Also, having another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I will be sharing a guided meditation every week. The information for that is in the description box.